Hello, welcome to the YCP Youth Cinema Project Excellence in the Classroom panel at BRIC. Very excited to be at BRIC this year with YCP. My name is Erica Sable Flores. I'm the Executive Director of the Youth Cinema Project, and I've always been a big fan of BRIC and everything they do on the summit, especially because it's a place where we all come together to find solutions to problems, and that's very exciting to me. So today I'm going to be talking about the Youth Cinema Project and the work we do. And also, as the description of the panel said, I'll be talking about how our program raises expectations in the classrooms of public schools by taking inspiration from the entertainment industry. And then also how our program decided to start focusing on excellence and not only in social emotional learning and empowerment and collaboration, communication, and the other 21st century skills that we were already focusing on. So I'm going to start by showing a video of YCP and what we do. So we will start with that.
Everything in film interacts with each other. I never thought I would be able to work with actual cameras and different equipment.
Got a chance to get a little taste of like what big film industries do.
Okay, actors, are you ready? Yeah! Quiet on set. Sound. Camera. Action! Reset. Okay. That's where C4 is. C4? This is C4. This is C4.
Best part of making a movie is you get to watch a thing you actually made.
Should you find somebody that was affected by this program like it had affected me, I think that's what makes it worth it. I was given a lot of opportunities and a lot of knowledge to help me execute my dream.
The biggest thing I learned in this program is that time goes by fast, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. So when you have this chance and when you have this time, do what you can with it, because a lot of people don't have this.
All right, so that gives you a visual idea of what we do. Basically, the Youth Cinema Project brings professional filmmakers into the classrooms of public schools, and we teach a filmmaking program that lasts 1 year. And in that year, the kids learn all of the skills required to take a project from concept to screen. So that means they get to write, pitch, direct, edit, light, grip, put music, and act on their own short films that then get premiered at the Los Angeles Latino International Film Festival, which is a film festival that operates under our organization, the Latino Film Institute. So the story of how I came to YCP is that I was a filmmaker. I've been working in the filmmaking industry for about 15 years, and I started as a mentor in the classrooms. So I was one of the people that come and actually deliver instruction to the kids, and I fell in love with it right away. I never thought it was that I was teaching was the thing for me, and I really enjoyed being able to bring together my skills and everything I love about filmmaking, and also just being able to deliver all of this knowledge to kids that are part of my community and communities in California that are generally underserved, and schools that are in communities that are underserved. So as I was doing that, I realized that, I'm not an educator, and I feel like I was able to look at the whole thing, maybe perhaps with the blessing of fresh eyes coming into education without any real knowledge about education. So when I became part of leadership for the program, I looked at the problems that I saw kind of from the perspective of a filmmaker, not an educator. And one of the things that we did is that in 2019, when I took over running the program, I just decided to get very serious about bringing the expectations and standards of the film industry into the classroom. And we already had filmmakers in the classrooms, but the program was still running a little bit more like a traditional arts program, and the emphasis was, in communication, collaboration, teamwork, empowerment of the kids using their voices, which was great. All of that was already great. And then I just thought that perhaps the way to take it to the next level is to really start putting a lot of emphasis into the results, like the final product, the actual film. And so by doing that, we kind of transformed from a student-centered program into a student-centered but results-driven program also. And the reason why I said that, this was a provocative conversation is because having this conversation in the world, I still every now and then get a raised eyebrow or some pushback from people who would say, well, but it's hard, and we're pushing them too much, and this is supposed to be about creativity, and if we can just inspire them and let them express a little, that should be enough. And that's what we should do. We shouldn't stress them out. We shouldn't push them too hard. And what I've said to that is that aside from focusing on that, which to me is kind of like a collateral benefit, that you're going to get your voice, you're going to have creativity, communication, collaboration, all of those happen, that it was a really good time in a human's life to start really focusing on excellence. And I came with that from my background in film, which everything is about the end result. It's all about the product. So the film has to be good. There's no really, that's just it. So anyways, the program then overcame, went through a lot of different changes, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But what I wanted to do today was bring all of the people at all of the levels in this organization that are part of actually enforcing these high expectations and the standards in the classrooms, and making sure that they happen, and making sure that we're even in the schools in the first place. And I think all of the people that I invited today really embody the mission and the vision of this youth cinema project of today. And they're just doing amazing things with the program. So with that, I'm going to introduce today, I have Dr. Raul Maldonado, who's the superintendent of schools at Palmdale School District. I have Miss Claudia Felix, who is a youth cinema project classroom teacher at Bell Gardens Intermediate in Montebello. And I have Dawn Spinella, who is a youth cinema project filmmaking mentor, in right now teaching at Napa District. And then later on, a little bit later, we're going to meet some of our students. So I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves in the order that I brought you in, and then we'll start with the questions.
Well, Erica, thank you so much for the invitation, first of all, to talk about one of my favorite programs in our school district. My name is Raul Maldonado, superintendent of the Palmdale School District. We're approximately 19,000 students. We have approximately 30 schools in my district. The program in my district has been in existence for about 7 years now. I've been assigned to the Palmdale School District for about 9. I've been the superintendent there. But I will say that it's been one of the most exciting programs that we have been able to bring into our classrooms at 2 different schools. It's also the program that has created a lot of enthusiasm. Students have been connected to the program, and now we have students that are now in high school and going to college, and we hear that a lot of them want to continue a career in filmmaking, and so we're very excited. We always want to be competitive. As you know, there's a lot of charter schools out there and other public schools, but in Palmdale, we tend to say Palmdale leads, and so this is one of the programs that we used to lead. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. You're muted, Claudia.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me as well, Erica. I'm very happy to be a part of the panel. I've been with YCP for 5 years. This is my 5th year. I came across it when I saw our current year students. I think they were filming. We had their movie premiere was a movie premiere, and I was just blown away by the fact that these were language arts classes that produced these films. So I needed to know exactly how was I going to get this into my classroom, because my students were already demanding more of me and more projects, coming out of my classroom. So I said, this is perfect. So I went to the superintendent, I went to my principal, I did anything and everything I could to get into our classrooms, and we did. We got it into my room. Not only into my middle school, they're at all of our middle schools and our high schools as well. And I'm very excited that this year, I guess they could see the benefits of it. We're having it for an after school program as well. So just being a part of it and knowing that I have former students that are now part of the alumni program fills me with joy and with pride that I know I did the right thing in bringing YCP to our school. And it began to spread like wildfire. And I hope, our students continue to blossom and grow, and I get to see more of them in the future.
Awesome. Awesome. So, hey, thank you, Erica, for having me here today. It's really nice to be among this awesome panel. My name is Dawn Spinella. I am a professional writer, director, producer, filmmaker, and I am a mentor in the classroom. I've been with YCP for 4.5 years. I've worked with all ages from elementary up through high school. I agree with Erica. It's a fabulous program, and I noticed immediately the change when she came aboard. But that's enough about me. I want to let her keep going.
Okay, great. So I'll start with my questions. Okay, so when the curriculum got more rigorous, some of the things that changed were higher expectations in terms of the writing. We introduced a very strict story structure. We introduced the green lighting and a development process for all of the scripts written by the kids. The requirements for the quality of the film went up a lot, and we introduced the idea of treating the classroom as a production office. So what was difficult for you as the people directly in charge of executing these changes and upholding these expectations? And I'll send this question to Dawn and Miss Claudia.
Well, as a teacher, I see that YCP's changes are a perfect example of a project-based learning program that adapts to current expectations and expects nothing from students but their best and excellence, as you stated. And with everything adapting to change is part of being flexible, and this is no different. Students quickly understand that this program is not an ordinary classroom with graded assignments. It is a production office with expectations and deadlines that must be met. So as a teacher, all I do is I facilitate whatever the mentors expect or request. I facilitate, I do my best to give them what they need so that we can have our students, provide the most excellent piece of work by the end of the year.
Oh man, I appreciate that too, because even though I'm not in your class, Ms. Felix, my teachers are the same way. And it's so great to have that support in the classroom, and it makes all the difference. And I agree. I think that people rise to the level of expectation. And if you expect little, then they rise to give you little. If you expect more, I think they rise up. It's a challenge. And I think that's where the beauty of this program lies, is that these students get to see how they can surpass what those expectations are of themselves. They can meet higher and higher levels. For me, and it is a very rigorous program, I would say that the toughest part has been balancing the expectation from Erica and YCP, because she is demanding and has very high levels of us, with what my students believe they can do and they think they're capable of doing, and their level of interest, the ability to stay focused and on task in class. And what they think the program's all about, because in their first year, they have no idea and they're kind of learning the ropes. So it's balancing that and then making sure I get enough rest. That's like super important. So we don't have a lot of time in this program. It moves fast and furious. And I have super high demands for my students in the class. And I'm constantly having to remind myself that, that one, they're 10, I'm teaching elementary this year, and that they learn in different ways. And so I find myself having to revisit information constantly, but I know that's the reinforcement tool. And that's where the kids get it and get it and get it and get it and get it. And by the time we're through a couple of days of mock shoots, they're really starting to understand. But it's that reinforcement. And it's been a challenge, but it's so much more rewarding when the kids are excited to share what they've done with their parents and the community. So. I will
Actually-
say that the program's just like making a film. It is like wrangling cats, little kittens through a maze, and every turn we're introducing some new challenge, and it's hard as heck. And at the end of it, we're all exhausted, but we have these amazing films. It's just like the films we make.
Actually, Dawn's one of Dawn's films won best film for the elementary category last year at La Leaf. So yeah, that was good. And I think I like what you said, that is like a lot of it is because that is it, is like is what you're against is what the kids believe they can do, not what they can do, what they believe they can do. And that is kind of where it's just like it's all the work. Okay, so on the school side, Dr. Maldonado, one of the things we changed and we started sharing with the districts was like the very specific profile of the teacher we wanted to partner with when we started a new school. And one of the things we tell superintendents when we first go in is that we need a teacher that will believe the kids can do these very difficult things that we're going to ask them to do. And that's going to support us in holding those same level of expectations that the mentors are trying to uphold. And we've done that because in the past, we have encountered teachers that have pushed back or like literally just like made excuses for the students or said the work was too hard for them. And essentially made it very difficult for the kids to strive for excellence and for the mentors to, because, you know, you're having confusing messages in the classroom. So, and I will say that one of the reasons why we got very clear about this is because we had teachers like Claudia that were like, okay, but like, why are all her kids doing, like, that's just working, and all of those kids are in, and you know, their movies are constantly the best movies, so that there's something to the teacher. And I started thinking, I can put the best filmmakers in the classroom, but I eventually realized the teacher makes it or breaks it. So why do you think that happens, that there's some pushback sometimes for teachers, and how do you inspire your teachers to hold high expectations and strive for excellence in your district?
Okay, great question. I'll start with, I'm sorry for the background noise, but I'll start with the fact that, you know, I think we all know this movie, right? Stand and Deliver. And it was Jaime Escalante who said, you know, kids will rise to your expectations. What is it that you expect? And so one of the things that we clearly saw in the program is at the beginning, when we didn't really know the program, our expectations were low, and we saw some of the movies, and, you know, we had people saying, is that it? Is that it? And so our expectations grew, and at the same time, YCP's expectations also grew. So we needed to make sure that, first of all, the teacher who's in the classroom had the same expectations and held the kids accountable. And it wasn't a free period for the teacher, because some teachers felt like, you know, we've got a mentor coming in, I'm not going to worry about it, I'll just sit over here at my desk, do some grades. And no, we made sure that in the accountability and the evaluation of that teacher, we also accounted for the fact that we had some very high expectations of the teacher and the program, so we could get some good quality results. And so as we shaped the program and we saw the movies, there was a lot of excitement, not just from the school pride, from the teacher, from the parents, from everybody connected, all the way to the superintendent, myself, who took pride in going to the red carpet and seeing the students with all that enthusiasm about the red carpet, the pictures. They really felt like they were Hollywood stars. And so all of that combined and put together is what's making this program a success. But you have to have a teacher that understands the why. Why am I here? Why am I the key person in ensuring that we hold kids, you know, accountable? It is tough, but you know what? Our time is very short to ensure the success of our children. And our students do a lot of writing, acting, speaking. And when they can do all of that, everything else rises. Their self-esteem, the way they conduct themselves, the way they express themselves at schools. And we're starting to see students go into ASB and really carry that pride that they're in this program. And so we're very clear. We expect the highest expectations for the children in these classes is to ensure that we have a good product and a great working relationship with the mentors. So Erica, and just, you know, that amount of time, I can say that we're very proud of the program and our partnership.
Also, I actually will say this, at one of Dr. Maldonado's school, the principal, I don't remember, some kids were being silly. I don't know what they were doing. And then she was like, there's a waiting list for this program. You will not like, she was like, you do not, there's a whole waiting list for this program and you have to step it up or we're going to kick you out of here. So then, you know, they were good the next day. It was funny. Okay. So another one for Miss Claudia and Don. As YCP has transformed, what did you personally witness in terms of this kind of thing we've been talking about of kids who may have felt at the beginning that they wouldn't be able to meet the expectations or that they couldn't do something and meet the standards of the rigor of the curriculum and then did?
Well, YCP is a process like anything, right? And the more students practice, they learn and apply that knowledge, the more confident they become. At the beginning, they're lost. Like, what is this all about? I want out. But soon they start, and they do feel overwhelmed. However, they quickly become acclimated and they get used to the rigor. There is rigor, yet they really don't see it as such. Then they start inviting other friends, get your classroom change and join the class. It's a lot of fun, which one of the students was successful to do so this year. And with that, it's just that students learn those work ethics from each other. They see one production team planning and working together, and that inspires others to give up their nutrition, their lunch breaks. And it's always upping the ante. It's like they want to do better. They want to strive for excellence and just produce the best work that they can do. And that's one thing that I see. At the beginning, they were intimidated by the program, but then towards the end, they're so involved in it, they're doing much more than they ever even expected. And I just can't wait until the end of the year, because by the end of the year, they see the full transformation.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about a student, one of my students this year. Her name's Angie, and she couldn't read or write last year in 4th grade. She worked really hard over the summer to be able to write and to read and bring that into the classroom. And so when we get into writing, it's a challenge. Even the best, I write all the time. It's such a challenge. So these kids struggle. And I was told about her reading, the lack of reading that she had and writing. And she had expressed doubt to me often. I don't know if I can do this. It's a lot of work. I'm not sure, this isn't really good. She expressed those kinds of comments. And so I could tell that she was struggling with this process. And rather than worry about grammar and spelling and all of that stuff, I said, just don't worry about that. Just keep writing, write the next answer to the next question. Keep working on this, we'll address that. To me, that was more important in her building self-confidence and self-esteem to know that she could do things than in getting the English right at that time, because that's something that we could go back through and fix. And I saw a little girl who just had the grit and the fortitude to keep at it. And her script is one of the ones we're producing this year. So
great. I actually had one of my kids that was a 5th grader that was a student of mine, who I always tell this story because it was, on the day of the first day that we were filming, he had a full meltdown. He was 5th grader, and he just started walking. He didn't even realize he was doing. He was walking away from the camera. He was just kind of slowly just walking back. And I remember I turned around and I was like, Andrew, this movie is not going to direct itself. Like, come over here. And then he was just like, I'm not going to be able to do it. And I'm not going to be able to do it. And I just, we walked away and I said, look, think about it. If you really don't want to do it, I'll find another director. I'm like, but I think you can do it. And I will, if you want to do it, I'm going to be right next to you. We're going to do it and you'll do it. So the next day he comes and he goes to me and he's like crying. He was like crying. He's like, Miss, I do want to do it, Miss. I do want to do it. Anyways, Andrew ended up being like La Leaf superstar one year, spoke in front of 1,000 people at opening night, and just had this complete 180 from just all this anxiety. And he couldn't even, he was just so anxious and then ended up just being, it was like on KTLA News, and he was interviewed by everybody. So yeah, these are the things that are super exciting to witness, and we love that. And also I always say, when people say it's stressful, it's hard, I'm like, yeah, life is stressful and hard. So you may want to get some practice right now,
Absolutely. Last year, one of the kids, I did the little interviews at the end of the year, and I put a little montage together that we played for the parents when we premiered the films at the school for the parents. And one of the young men in in one of the stories, he would never learn his lines. He was messing around all the time. He was distracted. He was one of those kids that's so hard to keep focused and wrangle. And one of the questions I asked him was, what would you do differently? If you had this program to do over again, how would you treat it differently? He said, I'd learn my lines faster. I'd pay more attention. And I wish I could do some retakes.
Oh, I remember that. That was fun. Yeah, that was funny. You said, were you happy with the scene? And he said, it's okay, but I would do it again.
I wish we could take it again. We could do another take. Yeah, it's funny.
Okay. I'm going to kick this question to Dr. Maldonado and Miss Claudia. How do you think a focus on excellence in a program like ours impacts specifically kids from marginalized and underrepresented communities?
That's a great question. You want to go ahead, Claudia? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's a great question, because in many of our school districts, like in mine, 75% of the kids are Latino students, but 1/3 are English learners. And so those are the kids that are really struggling with the language. And many of the times, unfortunately, I have to say this, sometimes they don't get an opportunity to write. And so with the expectations from the program, we have been able to get some of the English learner students in the program and really push them into the writing, because to me, they write for a purpose. And sometimes the student will come in and say, well, can I write it in Spanish? If they have enough Spanish skills, but what about when they haven't had any literacy skills? And so we have to build that opportunity for them to express themselves and to actually see the writing in front of them. So this is one of the ways that we have been getting comments from other teachers saying, wow, you guys are doing something special in this class, because I can see the fluency, I can see the literacy in some of the students. And eventually these students become leaders in classrooms, because again, the way I feel about it, is that when you build that self-esteem in these children to actually understand that they can accomplish something, I think that's very, very key, because otherwise they get ignored. They're in a special program now. They're not ignored. They build relationships, not only with the mentors, with the program, with the teacher, in front of the camera. If you can't speak the language, you can carry the camera and really feel good about, hey, I got that take. It was special. And everybody said, what a great angle. Or I edited something, or I wrote something. Now it's going to be used in the film. And so I think that all of these accomplishments really, really add value to their own journey. And eventually, these students are going to make it, but it's those high expectations that we hold for them. So Claudia, I'll pass it to you.
One of my students said to me at the end of the year, he said, Ms. Felix, I feel very privileged to be part of this program. And it is a great privilege, but I think every student needs to be part of this program in order for them to learn everything we've learned, because I am a different student. I was a quiet one in class, and now I participate in my other classes, not just in this class, but in my other classes. And countless times I have students coming to me from the high school saying, I'm an ASB. I am, a part of these other classes and other activities, where the reason why I'm part of it is because I learned when I was in this program that in YCP, that if I did not participate and I was not actively engaged, I wasn't going to get much out of it. So even though I was quiet in your class, or I was one of the quieter students, I learned that everyone else was having so much fun. I needed to actually be a part of it, because, it just makes it more meaningful. And I think when it comes from the students, they come to us and they share these experiences. That's what the real world is about. We have these high expectations, they're expected to perform, and YCP is offering this opportunity to our students in these schools. And it's why I'm also really happy that our district has brought it to all of our schools. Even the elementaries will also have it during the after-school program. So yes, thank you, YCP.
And Erica, if I may add, I know that at one of my schools, it's a dual immersion school. And one of the things the parent would always come to me and say, my child who's English only doesn't practice Spanish enough. And so I said, well, let's bring the program and we'll film in Spanish. So those children who are English only are filming in Spanish. and they get a chance to practice. And so that's the other way to look at it. You know, when they're learning a second language, we'll use the children that need, the students that need to practice the language. And so it's been very successful at the dual immersion school.
Yeah, and that was really great because it gave us the opportunity to test something that we were already doing the other way, because we knew it was working for English language learners, because they're like, they don't want to write in English, but they want to make a movie. But then we saw it was the same in Spanish, right? The kids, like, they don't want to show up to the Spanish class and just be like, but they want to make a movie. So that was great. And we're actually, that's very exciting. I love that. I love the dual immersion program because it gives we get to do the program in Spanish, which it's important to me. It just feels special to do that too.
Well, it's important, but there's also a lot of opportunities in the Spanish language. If you look at the number of channels in Spanish, it keeps growing, and they're going to need us students to be in the news, so be a star in Spanish or what have you. So there's a lot of great opportunities.
Yeah, and plus also, I mean, in the film industry, in all industries, but in the film industry, being bilingual, at least for me, has been like, I get double the work. I can work in double the projects because I can do any of the things in Spanish or English. So just also even as a valuable life skill tool for workforce development, it will be great. Okay, so this one's for Dawn. So I had a mentor that had been here for many, many years come up to me recently, and she said something like, okay, I admit it, you win. It works. So it was at the beginning, I had a lot of doubts about all these changes and I wasn't sure it was going to work. But now I get it. Like it works, and you're right. So, you won Best Film at LALI for one of your classes last time. Did you at the beginning also have doubts about our approach? And how do you feel now?
Yeah, so I will say that obviously that wasn't me who came to you and said that. No, Erica, I have never had any doubts about what you've created and that you want us to teach this structure. I think we won that film, and we do that, and we're successful because we follow structure. But I have a background in training. I've been trained to write in structure, and I've worked in an industry where we use structure, and that doesn't hamper creativity. It just means you learn that so that you understand how to deal with it and how to have the effect on your audience that you need to have, because that's what movies are. So no, I've never doubted you. I only, or the process, well, the program. No, I only doubted my ability to wrangle these little feral kittens that I have, every day or twice a week. That's the only part. That's the hardest part, and to get them to follow that structure. But otherwise, I love it. I think that I think that it works. I'm 100% behind it. It's just a lot of work. It really is. It's a lot of work. It's hard.
It is.
It's hard because a lot of people, especially young writers, who haven't had a lot of time to work on writing, really don't get structure and how it works. So we're taking a really big concept and trying to make it really simple for a young audience. But I'm telling you, even like young mentor filmmaker people out there can struggle with it. There's nothing easy about screenwriting.
Yeah, and I think that, one of the things that I'm very, intentional about now when we hire is that we tell people from the beginning, the mentors that come in here now in their interview is like, this is the most amazing thing you're ever going to do with your life and the hardest thing you're ever going to do with your life. And we're like, and it is because what we expect from the mentors is like not leaving anyone behind, not allowing low-level critical thinking, not allowing kids to get away with not speaking up, not allowing anybody to just say, I don't know. And in order to do that, you have to just keep, you just have to keep showing up and showing up and showing up. You have to gain their trust, and you have to make sure that they're, they feel safe. And then you have to be like, and I'm not letting you get away with that. So it is definitely a hard job. I am the first one to know that. So I'm thank you, Dawn, for your service. Okay, and I have one for Miss Claudia. How do you feel that our film curriculum integrates with your English curriculum? Our curriculum is lined up with English language arts standards and media arts standards for California. So how do you feel that it integrates with your English curriculum, and how does YCP's high expectations impact the work that you do with the kids outside of YCP?
So, because of the real life experiences offered in the program, my students are able to apply their English skills in all domains constantly, basically consistently and more effectively. They're listening, they're speaking, reading and writing. It's all intertwined and it's consistently being used and applied. From the beginning, at the beginning, it's a lot of reading, a lot of writing and communicating with two new adults in their lives, not as student teacher, but as a mentor is different than from teacher to student. Right now that they're going through the pre-production stage where now we're going into filming the production. They've had to communicate with different adults on campus, administrators, teachers, and even other students to ask for, to make requests to use different rooms, sign contracts, sign agreements, give orders, using their language, listening to others, knowing how to ask for things, knowing how to request, and also how to listen. It's all basically real life experiences on campus, not in the classroom, it's on campus, and it's consistently throughout. For example, right now they're reading and writing, they're making reference to their scripts, they're going back and reviewing notes, they're taking new notes, they're constantly refreshing what their agenda. They're actually creating their own agendas. Everyone has their own system. Even though I have my different systems, they also adapt a new system. So this is real life experiences in a school, and these kids are taking with them the ability to communicate much more effectively, verbally, in written form, and it's only a benefit to them. And it's also it's a moment of pride when teachers come to me and tell me about, oh, my former student came to me, oh my gosh, they're so eloquent, the way they spoke, the way they present themselves, it's so different. So yes, it complements our academics, but it does it in the real world setting, even though it's still at our school.
Okay, what about Dr. Maldonado, what about YCP's current approach resonates with your philosophy of education and what you want for your district overall?
Well, that's simple. I think education has to be exciting. It has to connect the students to some sort of activity, because, you know, in many ways, I can remember going to classes where the teacher just lectured, and you're sitting there. And I myself, as an English learner, I didn't understand. But when you can see it, feel it, touch it, get involved, I think that's when you connect the students. And now it has a meaning that if you ask a student to stand and they don't speak English, they're going to understand. Please stand, move, let's talk, let's converse. But again, my philosophy is we're giving them the why. Why is it so important? You might have a job in the future, right? So many things that we do in school, kids don't understand. Why do we do certain things? We never explain the why. And so to me, it resonates because this is a great opportunity. Palmdale is about an hour away from Hollywood. We have to prepare students for a job in Hollywood. There's many people around the world that would like to live an hour away from Hollywood, right? And they don't have that opportunity. So I see the passion, the commitment, the motivation. Those are all the things that I really want for our children, for our students.
And what you may have touched on this, but what gaps do you think YCP fills in terms of what's missing in education?
Well, again, you know, our teachers are not film producers, even though there may be other schools that'll say we have a film academy. They don't have the experience in Hollywood. Erica, you do. Don, you do. You guys are connected. And so that's what I see coming into our classrooms, the ability to actually get, you know, if I play sports, I want, you know, someone that's looking for that next baseball star, that next football star. I want those individuals in the classroom in our field. And so the gaps to me at the beginning can be that learning curve for us, because we don't understand really what's going on. And there are many programs out there that'll sell you the same product. But what you have is something special. You're connected to Hollywood. You have practical experience. You can become that mentor, that coach, that guide for students. And it's really I love the program. I love to partner with you. And as we continue growing the program, Erica, we've grown the program. We're looking now at implementing the program at one of our high schools. And so we get a lot of requests, not only from the students, from the parents, and now the teachers. And so I really, truly do appreciate the partnership.
And that's a perfect note to move on to the next part of this. So the latest thing that we are trying to focus on at YCP is basically workforce development as early as middle school. And again, that could be controversial because arguably people are going to be like, these kids are stressed out enough already, and we're here with our workforce development. But real talk, we realized when we launched our YCP alumni program, and the idea of YCP alumni is to take kids that have been through the program at YCP, and then from there, if they decide that they have an interest in continue learning film, we will plug them into all of these other advanced opportunities to keep learning, help them apply to other programs, help them build a resume, help them with workforce development, internships, mentorships, applications for college, etc. And what we realize is that if you don't start in middle school doing that, and you start in high school, where everyone may feel is the right time to start those conversations, it's too late. And then if you think at 18 that you're going to be able to catch up with all of that and build a resume and create samples and do all these things that all of these workplaces and universities and colleges are going to ask for, it's too late. So we realized that in doing this work that it really needed to start in middle school. And that's kind of how a lot of Miss Claudia's kids that went through middle school became part of alumni and now are on the way to all of these different things. So I want to introduce now two of YCP alumni superstars, and these are two of our students that have been here for quite a few years, and they've all grown up in front of my own eyes. And these are our YCP superstars, Daniela and Jocelyn. Actually, before they come on, I want to show this video where they're also in the video, and it tells you a little bit about the work we do through alumni.
When I first started YCP, I think I was around 11, 12 years old in the 7th grade.
I was 12 when I first started.
YCP is what started my interest in film.
I joined YCP alumni because I feel like so many voices are unrepresented still.
They gave me a lot of different opportunities, like going on sets, professional sets.
You help each other learn and grow, so you could hopefully work in the film industry one day.
I joined YCP alumni because I knew that in the film industry is what I wanted to do as a career, and already have like a head start on the entire industry before even leaving high school.
YCP alumni is literally like my second home.
I really like the people, the community. It just felt like a family, you know?
They always made me feel welcome and safe.
2 of my films have been shown at La Live. I have been connected with an industry mentor. I have been on professional film sets, and I've been able to apply to different programs outside of YCP.
I had the opportunity to do opening remarks for a screening of Selena at the Academy Museum.
All the programs that YCP alumni has helped me get into has helped me challenge myself in speaking English.
One of my films opened opening night for La Live. I got $10,000 from my college fund. My film showed at Comic-Con and a lot of other festivals. I got my first IMDb credit. I was at Good Morning America, and Lin-Manuel gave me a shout out.
It taught me leadership, it taught me communication. It also taught me how to take risks.
Have that feeling of being in the film industry.
Going through all these things, networking, meeting new people, and constantly just having to talk. I learned how to speak up for myself and know that my story and what I have to say is important.
How to be confident in my own voice.
Having that support really is helpful because I've never really thought of going to college or a big school.
I thought I was gonna have to go through the process all alone, which is kind of scary because I was gonna be the first one to go to college in my family.
I really didn't want to talk in Spanish and all that and talk about where I came from. I saw it as something negative.
YCP has supported me and helped me also gain confidence with saying that I'm indigenous.
Now I feel good talking about where I'm from and how I got here.
Like kids from where I'm from and with my background could be in the film industry.
Just being so, I guess, really involved in so many big events that people of color would not be involved in. Though I do I deserve being here? Or like, oh my gosh, like I've made it big.
You know, you need support. You know, support gets you through a lot of things. If you're feeling down and then you have someone to support you, you feel up, you feel ready to take on the new challenge, you feel ready, you feel prepared, you feel ready to move on and challenge yourself more.
Thank you, YCP alumni, for helping us follow our dreams.
For all the opportunities given me.
For creating opportunities for us to keep growing.
For helping me feel safe.
For helping me reconnect with my roots.
Por creer en nosotros.
All right, we're not crying. It's just the onions. So let's meet the kids. Here's Daniela and Jocelyn to share with us their experience. Welcome, welcome. And also, I wanted to take that opportunity to say that, I mean, it showed up in there, but actually we were able to get support and a sponsorship for YCP alumni from Amazon Studios. But it really is only because of the work we're all doing, because those people need to see that we're doing serious work here. And so I want to just thank everybody that's here, because I feel very comfortable going to any studio to say, we're so great, because I feel that, because everyone all the way down is doing all the work, including the kids. So I want to talk to the kids now. I have some questions for you. So Daniela and Jocelyn, what is the most important thing you've learned at YCP, apart from how to make films?
Well, the most important thing that I learned was to take advantage of opportunities, because YCP has taught me that opportunities helps you in your growth. So in each program that I've been, I always try to take life lessons that will make me more mature and that will help me improve my filmmaking skills. And actually, thanks to all the programs that I've been because of YCP, I learned how to speak English and understand English.
And how many colleges did you just apply to?
I think 14.
14 college applications went out, so good job. And Jocelyn, what about you?
For me, what I've learned through YCP is that patience is important, not only with yourself, but also with others, because it's important to understand that not everyone learns things at the same pace, because obviously we all have different levels of experience, but we also don't have to let ourselves give up, and that it's important to take our time to understand how we operate and help each other, because we are all still learning every day.
Great. And then do you feel, Daniela, that the expectations of YCP have translated into your academics or other areas of your life?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like since I got here, I had lower expectations because I don't know, I felt like I always had to remain in a box. But thanks to YCP, I've been able to aspire to something greater and think outside the box.
Cool. Jocelyn?
Definitely as well. Before YCP, I was a very shy student who didn't really speak for myself, but as I began learning what it means to work in a team, I was able to get out of my comfort zone and begin to trust my own voice.
Okay. And so YCP, the program YCP, right? If you look at it perhaps from a student perspective, is about looking at a very difficult task that looks like a mountain that you have to climb, which is making a good movie, feeling all of the fear and the doubt that you were going to feel and still making the movie and trying to make it good, right? So can you tell me how were you, some of the moments, some of the mentor things that were said, what are some of the ways in which you were able to overcome the obstacles you thought you couldn't overcome when you first started YCP, which maybe Daniela, maybe some language things and Jocelyn, some shyness things or anything else that you think of, like how were you able to overcome those obstacles that made you believe you couldn't do it, maybe?
Oh, well, I tried to keep an open mind. And I always kept, I wanted to try new things. So even though I didn't speak English, because I wanted to know how movies were made, I tried it regardless of the outcome, because I felt like YCP was a safe place, like a safe place to try new things.
Okay, and Jocelyn?
Same thing. When I started YCP, I had really no idea what being a filmmaker was and like what it felt like being on production days. And I really didn't know how hard it would be until we started production. One of the movies that we were filming was a fantasy film directed by Daniela when we were our freshman year back in 2019. And one of our obstacles was that I feel like we were focused too much on special effects and how to make this like fantasy film like a real thing. And because we were like beginners, we had no idea. This was our first time taking a film class. We were like exploding with ideas, and we were kind of like stressing over much about like where our idea was going to come true. But with the help of our mentors, Ms. Gianna and Mr. Rob at the time, and the support from our film teachers as well, they helped us like calm ourselves and trust ourselves, knowing that if we really wanted to make this film, that we were able to get through it and just really focus on the present then, and not really focus on the extra stuff.
Actually, can you guys talk a little bit about that film that you're talking about? Daniela directed it and Jocelyn was the first AD, and Daniela didn't speak a word of English at that time at all. And she ended up directing this film, which they asked me if they could write it in Spanish, and then it got translated, and then you directed a film through your assistant director. Can you tell me how did you do that? Both of you, your experience doing that.
Well,
directing.
yeah, I was really nervous because I didn't know anything about directing, but the teacher there was encouraging me to do it. But thanks to Jocelyn too, because she helped me translate and communicate with all the crew members and the classmates. But it was really fun. It was like the first time in many days that since I got here in the United States that I felt like I had something to do and I was interested in.
Okay, Jocelyn.
Well,
like, between the speaking English crew and Daniela.
It was hard at first because I think one of the only ones who was really bilingual, or nobody else really wanted to help. So I took on the job and I was like, you know what? Like, I've been through that position before where I couldn't understand someone else either speaking in English or trying to say something in Spanish. And so I felt like I needed a helper, and it was like my time to also like help each other, being able to be a part of this film world. And it was hard. It was really hard because my mind was working in English, but I was speaking in Spanish, or it was like mixed up. But it was truly fun, and it really has helped us gain a better friendship as well with one another.
Okay, and then last week we went to a little field trip to United Talent Agency, and you had an opportunity to see like a really big talent agency and what happens in there. And one of the things we try to do through alumni is expose you to all of this industry, real, actual world, real world experiences. So you get to learn about all of the different aspects of the film industry. How was that experience for you visiting that place, and what did you learn?
It was great. I mean, I feel like once you taste a little bit of what the film industry is, you can go back because you keep thinking about that. It was so interesting to see how many artists work there and how you can connect with like your idols and all that.
Okay.
Taking that field trip and being exposed to so many different opportunities has definitely helped all the YCP alumni give us an idea of that you don't only have to be just a filmmaker. Like, there's other jobs within the film industry, whether it be the business side or the entertainment side. And it's just really fun to be able to see other people and like them also giving you advice and guiding you, or you asking questions to them and they give you feedback, and also give you advice whether or not if you want to be in the business side or in the entertainment side.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's important. And we try to, it's like, it's not just directors and actors, right? There's like hundreds of jobs in the industry, and you can be pretty much anything that you can be, just anything. You can be an accountant in film, you can be a doctor in a film set, you could be, a construction worker in a film set, a transportation worker in a film set. So there's all of the things. Okay, so I'm just going to go around and get final thoughts from everybody. Just anything else you want to share as a last thing. And actually, we'll start with the kids and then we'll go with the adults.
I would say that I think everyone should join this organization, this program, because it really helps you finding your dreams. Like, I didn't know what my dream was until I got into YCP. And even though maybe you don't want to be a director or a producer, but maybe you like art, you can work in the art department. Like, there's every job, there's a job for everyone.
Okay, great.
Yeah, same thing what Daniela said. I feel like everyone should get an opportunity as early as they can within being a filmmaker. And honestly, through my experience, YCP has helped me gain back my roots, because before YCP, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I also didn't want, I did want to go to college, but I didn't know what I wanted my future career to be. And within YCP, I was able to take seriously that I wanted to pursue film, and that also, because being an indigenous, there's always a small percentage of us that don't get the full education. So I wanted to pursue and getting a high education and pursue film, and being also the first student the first kid in my family to get into college. So thank you, YCP, for the amount of support and opportunity that you have given us all.
Thank you, Jocelyn, for being here. Dawn?
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me here. And I will say that this program is incredibly fulfilling to me as a mentor, just getting to meet the kids and work with them and watch them change and grow, and know that there's more opportunity and more opportunity. So it's great to be a part of that. Thanks for having me in YCP, Erica.
Miss Claudia?
Oh, wow, I'm so proud, Jocelyn, and my other students that came in the alumni movie. I will continue because of you guys, because of what I see, how much you're, because of how I see how much you're all growing. I'm going to continue promoting YCP, following it, and pushing it to as many students as can possibly take it. And I welcome any alumni to come into my classroom and speak to my students personally, because I think it's much more valuable coming from you than from me or a video or even our mentors. So if anyone at the high school has some time, please come on down and share your knowledge or your experiences with my students.
Great. Dr. Maldonado, take it home.
Well, after the students, I don't know if I can take it home, but I do know that if I were young again, I want to be in their shoes, because what a great opportunity. When the Pando School District was looking for a program that would inspire, that would, really have those high expectations, we looked at YCP, and I think Jocelyn and Daniela's testimonies really speak to what I was talking about, having high expectation, closing the achievement gap, and really making students feel good about who they are. I so much admire Jocelyn for feeling like, her culture, her own identity has come to life. And I've seen Daniela in some of the clips, and I can remember that she was very shy about speaking, and I'm so proud of her and all the opportunities that she will have applying to all those colleges. You guys are going to be successful, and come back and help the community. Okay, so thank you, YCP.
All right, so that is us. Thank you so much for joining us. We are at Youth Cinema Project industry.org. I think our email is in the chat too, and we're in all social media. So we're happy to connect with everybody. Industry, reach out if you want to get involved. And we're looking forward to doing more BRIC things with BRIC. So thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you to afternoon. And thank you for all of my guests for joining, and we'll see you soon.